What is happening, Budge Builders, and welcome back to the channel. We are here literally in the middle of the woods in North Carolina. We're going to try to attempt to rescue this early 60s short bed unibody Ford F100. This one's going to be a little interesting. You can see here we are just in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Abandoned cabin up there, super cool. This thing has been back here since the late 90s, grown in down by this creek side. We've got to try to get this thing out of here. We brought our sawzall. We're going to trim up these couple little trees, go strap on it, and see if the big block Suburban will drag it out of here. What a monster. I should have set cameras up a little bit better. Once we were committed though, we were on our way up and we spun the whole way. It wouldn't have been so bad if it hadn't have been wet and then both rear wheels stayed locked up the whole time. That had to have been one of the most ridiculous pulling a vehicle out of, I don't know if that's what you want to call it, one of the most ridiculous attempts at getting a vehicle out of the woods ever. Literally straight up soaking wet. It took two full-size four-wheel drive vehicles to pull this thing up, and we were spinning like you wouldn't believe it. Huge thank you to the family there that helped us out on getting this thing out of there, and we are so excited to try to bring this thing back to life. Obviously this is a 61 unibody short bed F100. This would have originally came with a 223 straight six, inline six. Somebody at some point of time plopped a 351 Windsor in it, so that's exciting, and we're excited to try to get this one to fire up. Obviously 1998 is the last registration. I would assume probably before that, you know, that's like a 4-year window, so it's somewhere between 1994 and 1998 this thing was parked, and it sat obviously out in the middle of the woods. I mean, we were every bit of probably a half a mile out into the woods in the middle of nowhere. Sadly, at some point of time, some folks, we'll just call them folks, found the area down there. They stripped a lot of that poor little cabin, that super neat little cabin. And they started stripping stuff out of here. You can actually see they ripped half or more of the radiator out. I've never seen anything like this. Started cutting some wiring and stuff, so that's definitely gonna be a treat to figure out. And then they left the hood up. So this thing, you can see we gotta do a little work on the hood. It's actually really good shape, other than it's pulled apart here from them just leaving it half open and someone trying to close it at some point of time. I think we'll be able to address it though. But the biggest thing with it sitting open like that, moisture. So I think our first things first, we're gonna have to vacuum and blow it out in here. It is an absolute mess. Let's see if we can get these spark plugs pulled, and let's see what the condition of our combustion chambers are. first things first. Doesn't hurt to pull a dipstick. That is, smells like booty hole. We don't have any rust on the dipstick. It's dark. It's, wow, that's really old. 70 dipstick. Definitely needs to be changed, but I love the fact that I don't see any water there. Yeah, we'll definitely want to clean down in there. It is slap full of stuff. But I think first things first, try to get these spark plugs out. Well, I wonder, I bet this thing is probably a little stuck. Hopefully not a lot stuck. These things are rusty. Oh, that's not bad at all. Well, yep. Wow. A little bit of rust, a little bit of moisture. That's really not bad. This one crusty old plug. We're not worried how crusty it is on the outside, as long as it's pretty on the inside. Two looks great. Ooh. Oh, come on, baby. It's tight. Keep it going, keep it going. Wow, not bad. Of course, not bad is not good, but it's not bad, if that makes any sense. These are some ugly old spark plugs. We're just looking for moisture at this point. Oh my goodness. Oh no. We're gonna have to put a little heat on that one. We'll come back to 4. Let's move to 5. Not too bad. Oh yeah, some green, a little bit of condensation. Not too crusty though. All right. C7. Nice. Feeling good about this one, y'all. And 8. Sweet. Before we give our hopes up, let's try to get number 4 out. Here she is. Ooh, it don't sound great. Thank goodness we're messing with cast iron heads, because that one would have no threads. And it still might not. Oh yeah, we all right. Let's soak this thing down. Let it soak a bit and see if it turns over. Just soaking everything down. It's good. It won't hurt anything. This thing could probably just use a... I just wanted to give this a go. And I imagine this thing, this belt is just completely rusted to that pulley, so we might as well just pull it off and go ahead and get a bolt on the crank. Got a free water pump, surprisingly. Yeah, it's okay alternator. Oh yeah. Just, not as bad as some, but sometimes that'll give you a false locked up when those belts are all just rusted together. Now we've had it soaking here for a bit. The reason we do this, if you have any kind of moisture, and obviously this thing's been open to the weather, if you try to just crank it over with the starter, sometimes you take the chance of ripping off ring glands or busting ring glands and ripping out rings. I like to do this just, I want to feel what the internals of this engine feel like, and they feel locked up solid. Oh my. Yep. That's kind of what I thought we'd get into with this one. I think we just need a bigger pry bar. Obviously, we don't want to tear anything up, but in case we're not getting a good pull, I'm going to get a little more leverage on it and just see what we feel like. We feel like we don't move. Well, y'all, we're a little stuck. Look at the spider web in there. Look how clean that is. Look at the cross hatching and everything. Very, very, look at the spider web. Why is there a spider web in this? Look at it. There's a spider web in there. Very, very light. That might even be goop. Look how clean the piston is. So that one could potentially be a little stuck. Wow, look how nice that is. See our WD-40 we sprayed in there? Wow, look at that. It's not bad. I'm not seeing anything that's... So it might just be some very light moisture. Very light surface rust on our rings. We're not looking horrendous. Piston dead at the top with not a ton of stuff on it. We got a little spot of rust right there on the wall, but just barely. And that should knock free and really clean. I'd say we just got a little bit of surface rust. Let's put some good old Marvery mystery oil in it. We'll let it soak for a bit, a couple days probably. We'll come back after it. Yeah, that'll help give us a little more room there. Starter? Let's try to pull the starter. We know we've had issues with those Ford starters before. This one being a, not only that, but you get a better pry point if we have just a little bit of something holding us back. Could be something up in the bell housing there. Let's pull that starter real quick.
It's coming out, but I don't know if I got it all the way. Yeah, I guess so. Alright.
Yep. Okay, now. Oh wait, okay. I think it tried to move.
Yeah, you're relaxing it.
Beautiful. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There she goes. Oh, beautiful. Sometimes it just takes that little bit different leverage point. Maybe even had something up there in the bell housing, just like with the little falconizer there. She's spinning over. Let's make sure we get a good few revolutions out of this. Let's make sure everything's nice and smooth. We don't have any major rust rings in there. Man, what a good feeling. It's going, isn't it? Nothing hard it's jarring against, is it?
Nope. It's getting better.
How's it feel, Dad?
Getting better.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, it's getting better.
Now we want to go ahead and start turning this thing over with the starter, but before we do that, this oil is ancient. The good old Purelator filter has obviously been on there forever. Let's go ahead and drop this oil, because as soon as we start turning it over, all that's going to be pushed up into the oil pump and pushed up into the motor. Everything that's been sitting all these years, for the most part, is going to be down at the bottom of that pan. We can drain it out. We can put some fresh in it. If we can get it to run, we can run it a bit, then we can change it. I just always feel bad trying to crank these things with that nasty old oil in there, just knowing all that's going to be sucked right up. So let's go ahead and drain it and see what's in the bottom. I really dig this mount they did. They just cut the whole thing out of some other vehicle, put these bars and bolted it on. So instead of hacking up, I've seen these hacked up, they actually did a pretty decent job installing this motor. Not too bad. Whew, some grody old oil, but no sludge. Wow, why does that smell so? That's old gas. The whole cab smells like that old gas. Sheesh, that stinks. Golly. No! Oh yeah. Wire runs up to here, and obviously we don't have a solenoid, so that is something we'll have to get. And then our ground cable, we're gonna have issues if we even try to use this. To the body, the only ground to the motor other than just through the mounts is that body ground right there. That's ridiculous. So we're gonna go ahead and run a ground straight to the motor so we know we don't have issues with that. Got our jumper on the signal side of our new solenoid there. Let's see what it does. Oh yeah. Starter said, don't spin me over that much. She is moving over. Let's go ahead and take a look at our distributor. We'll start figuring out fire. Got a fancy little cover, which might mean, yeah, I like that thing. Look how clean it is in there. Wow, kind of crusty right here, but look how nice the points and everything are. That's a cool distributor. Points opening up nicely. Let's put a little power to it and see what it does. You've got to be kidding me. So, question to some of you newer Ford folks, is this factory original? Because look how crusty this thing is, how nice that distributor is. Even the inside of the cap is super clean. The outside, not so much. Oh my goodness. That's flipping rowdy. I just have a feeling this is gonna be nasty just as much as it's popping. We're about to get lit up.
Not me.
Oh my! What is up with that? Well, I'm just gonna take that one as a win. We don't ever have to not mess with points. Sure enough, we're gonna lose spark, but I'm not gonna complain that it has some right now. With this thing spinning over and all of our goulash blowing out of those cylinders, I think we can go ahead and put some spark plugs in. Got a fresh set of Autolite 45s, and you actually gap this one out here. You see it right on our tag, 42 to 46 thousandths, which makes sense with that crazy fire. 45. And as crusty as this thing is, it's a little cold here. We're gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on these plugs. Because we might have to pull them back out at some point in time. What's funny is this stuff actually was still in the shop here when we got in here. And it looked like this when I started working here when I was 15. So I've been using this anti-seize right here my entire working career. And it still works wonders. Now we've installed all of the spark plugs except for number 1, and that is so we can go ahead and check our timing. We can get our mark down here and we can verify our wires are correct so we can time it correctly. Phillips screwdriver, drop it in that number 1 hole, and number 1's actually right there. That's about dead top. Verify both of our valves are closed. Our point lines up with 1. Let's see if we can find our mark and get a mark on it. You can see all of our timing marks and top dead center. Now the reason I'm going ahead and marking that is just so once we get this thing running, we can check her and verify our timing and everything. It's just easiest to go ahead and do it now while everything's out of the way. 1372654. We have rotation, which means air. We have spark, we need fuel. This carburetor is frozen solid. I've got a kit, let's yank it off. Let's try to get it freed up. Let's put a kit in it. Let us dig in. Now we can make some soup. This is just a simple, inexpensive ultrasonic cleaner. We've got a 50-50 water purple power degreaser mixture there. Was not able to get the screw for the Venturis out or the jets, and obviously we're still frozen, but hopefully some time down in here and that'll be taken care of. Oh, yeah, that's some good soup. Clean carburetor soup. Something you've always got to take a look at with these is your accelerator pump plate here. If you notice, these are bad. I don't know if it's just from over tightening or what, but about warping. You can see just how warped that plate is. And then also same thing for the power valve cover. Super crazy warped. We are gonna have major leaks if we leave it that way. So I've got a nice little flat bar of steel here. Put some sandpaper on it and go to town. There we go. Good bit of work, but that's what we got to do. Definitely a little aggravating making this carburetor happen because she is a crusty gal and everything was frozen, everything blocked off. I think we got it okay and hopefully it'll run. One thing I am gonna do, no! Oh, it's cut that fuel line. There's a reason we hadn't messed around in the cab on this one very much. The tank is in the cab and it's obviously rusted out. And it's the worst smelling gas ever and the whole cab stinks of it. Now everything up here does. But I did not want that pumping out at us if the fuel pump decided to function. I doubt it would. Whew. Here is our fuel system, boat tank, run up to our electric fuel pump, which we're able to jump off of the battery. Let's go ahead and see if this carburetor will take some fuel. Goes. There it goes. Oh yeah. I don't know about y'all. I'm ready to see if this thing will run. Coil wire. Before we do any more fuel, let's see what it'll do. Some blips and choke. Woo! Oh baby. Okay, Dad, do you mind please doing this so I get two hands on the carburetor? Oh, I love, this is the best part. All right.
Okay.
Yep. Oh baby. Come on baby.
Uh-oh.
Oh baby. Oil pressure. It is flipping idling. 60 psi oil pressure. It sounds terrible. It's clearing up. 60 psi oil pressure. Woo! I can't believe this thing's idling. Oh, I talked too soon. Hey. This thing's a runner. Leaking.
Oh no, the fuel pump.
Oh, gross. Yeah. That's exhaust leaking. That's not bad. Some noisy lifters. Oh, it's in gear. We just about got run over. Oh my goodness, my heart is in my butt. I have cold chills. That was not cool. Well, I was gonna say we should check the transmission fluid. We probably need a cooling system though. This thing don't sound bad. Oh, glass bags don't sound half bad, do they? It smells like dirt back here. I think it'll clean up, sound all right. Motor sounds good. Lifters are a little on the noisy side. Great oil pressure though. Over 60 PSI. Woo! That is burning off some stank. The exhaust was so far down in that dirt that it just smells like it's, I don't know if we're blowing dirt out or if it had rat's nest in it or what, but it's like a dirt smell. But it is a runner. That old 351 fired back to life. It sounds good. Great oil pressure. Woo-wee. That stinks. No cooling system though. We're not getting hot yet. We definitely don't want to take a chance. We've got what seems like a good motor. We need to take care of this cooling system. This moves, but it is super, super, super crunchy. And with how all of this is, I bet it's just packed full of rust and garbage. We definitely don't want to be sending that through our cooling system. With this being the way that it is, I imagine there's a ton of trash down in that thermostat. We obviously need to get all of that pulled. And then our radiator is probably not going to work out too well. I feel like it might leak a little bit. We could try to solder it up, but I think we just need to put another one in there. So we're not going to leave you with that. I definitely think let's take the time, if you're up for it, knock out this cooling system and get this thing running a bit better. You think that radiator's good, ain't it, Dad?
Half of it at least.
Oh no. Here, rehold that, please. Oh no. Is it ice or is it? I don't know. Or is it just gelled?
That's a new one.
Oh my goodness.
Holy smokes. So there's a thermostat, and it's not bad there. Ooh, there's coolant in it. So everything's good except for, is that just corrosion, you think?
That's just an aluminum
Maybe
timing
something underneath
cover.
this thing. That's so wild. So that's the reason it wasn't getting too hot, sitting there running. It's just at the ends though. Once you pop them clean, they're good. What in the world? Any of y'all ever seen anything like that? I have never seen one that bad. I'm sure glad we went ahead and just pulled that water pump because we would have had no cooling system. I am really glad we opted to pull off that water pump. That was a gnarly cooling system. Thankfully, just right here at the front, once we got it pulled out, cleaned out, there was still coolant in the engine. We were able to blow everything through, clean it up, and it looks okay. Fresh water pump, thankfully something that's really inexpensive, 30-something dollars. While we were in here, went ahead and replaced the fuel pump. It was working with that old stuff in there. It was $12 or $13. There was already one bolt out that was on the fender here. Not sure why it was like that. Went ahead and just replaced it so we know we have a fresh fuel pump on there. Cleaned up our pulleys, got a new belt on, and now we need a radiator. I did want to try the original. But it might need just a little bit too much work. Thankfully, my good friend Ian hooked us up with this one. This is one that he gave us a while back. He's got a YouTube channel, I think Rusto Mods. I'll put a link down in the description there. He messes with some cool old stuff. And he had no use for this one, so he gave it to us. Now it doesn't fit. Dad made some pretty neat little brackets so we can mount it in there. Should work perfect for what we need to get some coolant flowing through this thing. It's got a cooling system, it's got its own fuel system. Let's try to fire this thing back up. I like that. Good carburetor. It's a torquey motor, isn't it? That sounds great. Check this transmission fluid. It is burning some rat's nest off. Golly, this thing stinks. This thing sounds good, clearing up really nicely. This thing was left for dead, but we all know it was just a hibernation. Obviously not going to have any brakes because we had to remove all the rear brakes just to get this thing to move.
So what are you gonna do?
Just try to get it to see if it goes into gear. Reverse. Ha! This thing's running really good and it goes into gear. We have no brakes. We might as well at least swing it around the shop yard. There's not a car or two out there we might hit. Go! Second gear. Oh, I love this. That's because it's a unibody. That is not too shabby. That's all right.
Silly.
That's a whole lot of fun. Cool as a cucumber. What a great running old truck. Years and years abandoned out in the woods. I mean, this thing was literally in the middle of nowhere. It was on its way back to being one with the forest. We got this thing drug out of there. It was definitely a treat, but such a blast. We were glad to get it back here in attempt to bring it back. Locked up motor. We were able to get it to free up. Got it to fire off. Really nasty cooling system, which is now working awesome, and it drives it. That FMX hit all 3 gears. That 351 sounds good and feels strong. What a cool old truck. I really hope you all have enjoyed coming along with us on this one. We have something extremely fun planned for this truck. There's a reason we kind of got into it. We got it running, we got it driving. We're doing something a little different. To see more on this rescue or other rescues and rebuilds, be sure to subscribe button, notification bell to keep up with our future uploads. And if you have been a part of the channel, we do appreciate it so incredibly much. We hope everyone is having a great end of the year. We cannot wait for next year. We have so much fun planned, but that's gonna wrap it up. Peace out and catch you all on the flip side.